Firefighters have arrived back on the scene here in El Cajon. You can see that they're making their way in very quickly as smoke has started to come out of the roof of the condo that originally set off on fire earlier this morning. It has rekindled what neighbors say they believe in the attic as crews are putting up ladders, making their ways back into the unit to hopefully put this out once and for all. And that Chevy Tahoe first originally slammed into this light pole here. You can even see there are pieces of his tail light still left here. And from there, that's what employees say. He ended up gassing it so hard that he slammed right through this metal railing that is being repaired right now, straight through the building where they now have a board where there used to be shattered glass. And that large eucalyptus tree came crashing down on the Scripps Ranch townhome. Barbara Lee and Carlo, take a look. The city of La Mesa deemed this a health and safety hazard. They wrapped around this red tape which reads danger hazardous, and the homeowner shockingly was inside last night when this tree tore right through his home. It was quite the daring deer situation. After hours of being on the run, the young buck decided to call it quits here beyond this fence in the SDG&E backlot.
She's DJ Heather Hope.
Free DJ Heather. All right. Good morning, Heather Hope.
I'm doing my DJing skills. Testing that out here. We're in Henry's Pub. Hey, Marcella, and the beach is the place to be. Let me get more festive. Got my gear on as many people chose Mission Beach to celebrate their 4th of July. It's Electric Vehicle Day, part of a national push to get more people to drive electric. All of its calls related to hepatitis A. There was a long line of people waiting to get the vaccine, which I got today. Frustrations continue to boil over those beach closures as raw sewage continues to flow down here in the Tijuana River Valley, leaving behind a smell as well as loads of contaminants and what's been an unstoppable series of sewage setbacks. It's a hot button topic on campus. While some say save the Aztecs, others say not my mascot. Still, the resolution moved forward through a diversity committee last week, and now it's headed for another vote. It is Peace Week here at Santana High School, commemorating 16 years ago this month for the Santana Deadly High School shooting. And for this week, you had that teacher Martin Johnson singing to students back in the courtyard there when Switchfoot took the mic. After 37 years of teaching, it was Martin Johnson's last lunchtime concert.
And you're raising these 24 voices.
As he serenaded Santana High School outside, his wife Diane Johnson was inside prepping his favorite band, Switchfoot, as a retirement surprise.
And I said, Marty, I know you've made a difference.
She read her husband's letter.
This school, this community found new hope, new kindness, new love, new compassion. From Switchfoot!
Then came time to meet their mega fan face to face. Together they sang Switchfoot's song, Where I Belong.
Where the weak are finally strong, where the righteous right the wrongs.
Shocked and elated, the group stood beside him.
Take a deep breath and close my eyes.
Switchfoot couldn't be any more honored.
Well, this community has given us so much, supported us, growing up here and starting our band here in San Diego. And when we are home, we look for opportunities like this to give back.
To hear of a teacher here in San Diego that's singing our songs to his class, once a week. I mean, what an honor.
All Mr. Johnson's students know he's a Switchfoot supporter.
Like every day. He'll play Switchfoot, we'll walk into Switchfoot, we'll sing Switchfoot, we'll flash mob to Switchfoot.
His class sad to see him go.
My mom was actually in Mr. Johnson's very first class at uni, and I'm in his very last class here, so that's kind of cool.
The band was also impressed.
He's a great player, actually. He's got a good voice.
Mr. Johnson can't stop smiling.
Then I look over, and there's John Foreman, there's the rest of the guys. It's like, wow, it was a life fulfillment. It was such a blessing.
Norm Johnson has accomplished so much in his 83 years of life. An esteemed journalist, a war hero. He even danced alongside Elvis Presley, the movie Jailhouse Rock, and also raced cars against James Dean. But the one thing he's always wanted was his high school diploma.
It's a big day for me.
66 years since his time at San Diego High School, the now 83-year-old Norm Johnson used to always stress to his 3 daughters, get your high school diploma.
Then when they found out that I was getting mine, they said, Dad, we always thought you had it.
Norm never received his because he joined the military at 17 years old, a senior who used to ditch class.
The judge more or less told me you have to join the Air Force or go to detention.
He served in the Korean War.
Mr. Johnson left high school in 1950 to join the Air Force. He served as an investigator in the Air Police.
Operation Recognition honored the veteran's life at the San Diego County Board of Education meeting. Norm was a Pulitzer Prize-nominated journalist, meeting 3 presidents, including Jimmy Carter, a bodyguard for General Douglas MacArthur, and boxing promoter, meeting Muhammad Ali.
There was all these connections, and through Joe Louis, I met Frank Sinatra, I met the Rat Pack, Sammy.
Norm met many actors, including Kirk Douglas and Glenn Ford, and politicians Harry Reid and Margaret Thatcher.
Most people who get their high school diplomas, they're seniors. Norm is a senior. On behalf of the San Diego County Board of Education, a diploma of graduation.
My birthday's on Valentine's Day, and this is the greatest birthday present I've ever received.
Suited up in his cap and gown, officially part of the class of 1951.
Finally, I get to toss the hat.
This story is hitting home for CBS News 8's Heather Hope. She has family in both Florida and Georgia. Joining us now with more on how one of her cousins rode the storm out.
Right, my cousin Lisa Bell, she said she had to hunker down there in Fort Lauderdale as Irma hit, sending rainwater inside her home. Then as a first responder, she had to struggle to get to downtown Miami early this morning, where there is still power loss and debris covering the street.
Power is on in my area, but it's not in most of Miami.
A day after Irma hit in Fort Lauderdale, my cousin Lisa had to drive around downed trees just to get to and from work.
Traffic lights are out. It was a struggle getting home.
Yesterday, after the tropical storm hit, water also got inside her home.
Tennis courts flooded, parking lots flooded. All my patio furniture is inside the house.
Now having to clean up, Lisa works as a dispatcher for the Miami Sheriff's Department.
Still in my uniform, as you can see. My sheriff's office is still on 12-hour shifts.
And these are all the effects of Hurricane Irma.
In Jacksonville, Florida, my family there is cleaning up cypress trees that fell down as they have their generator running.
Power line is out. We've been out of power ever since yesterday.
Effects of Irma are flowing up to my hometown of Atlanta, Georgia.
We see it's raining extremely hard.
My cousin Tamiko Hope took to downtown empty streets next to the new Falcon Stadium.
It's just a lot of wind, you guys. A lot of wind, a lot of rain.
She almost lost her umbrella.
It's really starting to pick up here. As you can see, the trees there are some broken branches there.
Despite losing power, my cousin Patricia is prepared.
So we're kind of just sitting here on pins and needles and praying that everything is going to be well.
There's still a curfew in the Miami-Fort Lauderdale area, keeping people inside their homes from tonight until 7 in the morning as a safety precaution. Now in Georgia, more than 1.5 million in the state are out of power due to the storm.
CBS News 8's Heather Hope is live near the fire tonight with an update and what evacuees are saying. Heather?
And we were at the campground as evacuees were rushing to get out. They received that order from Bullhorn to be able to get out, and some had their doors knocked on. We're right along Otay Lakes Road, and this is a closure as police and fire officials have blocked off this area to people coming up the road, again, as the Gate Fire is burning at least 500 acres.
I heard mandatory evacuation. I said, Shelby, let's pack up.
Not wasting any time after park rangers at Pio Pico RV Resort and Campground in Dulzora started announcing mandatory evacuations by Bullhorn. Brian Furphy got out with his pets.
Instead of packing up our whole RV, we just grabbed the dogs, a change of clothes, a bottle of Martinelli's. I didn't get paid to say that, but we're going to go celebrate.
Staying upbeat after witnessing the upshoot of smoke and flames.
And then it just got wider and wider and wider. And that's over the past 10 minutes, 20 minutes. And now everything I see, now it's 3 football fields.
Other evacuees packed their cars up to the brim, sweeping down Otay Lakes Road. Plans quickly changed for motorcycle riders.
Not going to let us through because of the fire. We're going to have to turn around and go back.
The same scenario for this resident going fishing.
And I turned around and I looked east and I'm going, uh-oh.
It's not good when you see smoke like that.
It's called the Gate Fire due to its nearness to the actual border gate, breaking out around 11:20 Saturday morning at just 10 acres, swiftly swelling to more than 400 on fire.
It burns very quickly. It doesn't necessarily need a lot of wind on it for it to really take off.
We witnessed it firsthand as light, flashy fuels combined with wind got really close to our cameras. The high heat didn't help, but many thought the recent rains would have.
Unusual for this time of year, but because of the heavy grass load that we have in the area and up and down the state, this fire was able to grow fairly quickly.
CBS News 8's Heather Hope is live at the newly christened Mark Hamill Drive with all the excitement. Heather?
There is so much excitement as many pack the streets here at Mount Abernathy and Castleton Drive to see that prestigious street named after Luke Skywalker himself. He said he first moved here with his family. He was 11 years old, originally in Mount Arcadia before coming here to Castleton Drive, now named Mark Hamill Drive.
It's hard to process. It's just crazy.
Back in his old stomping ground, many couldn't contain seeing Star Wars legend Mark Hamill.
It's awesome. I love it. When I heard, I was like screaming.
A character that I grew up with watching at my grandparents' house, finally be able to see them in real life and stuff.
Packed down Mount Abernathy Avenue and Castleton Drive in costumes.
I'm a huge Mark Hamill fan, so he's the new hope on here.
Big fan of Mark Hamill, the #1 Jedi in the universe. We're here to see his street be named.
There were fans young and old.
I love Luke Skywalker. He's my favorite character in Star Wars. It's a great turnout. When we arrived, it was about maybe 40 people, and now it looks like it's over 300.
The once Claremont native arrived on stage to all cheers. Hamill said he was surprised.
They first told me that they were going to name a street after me. I thought they were pranking me.
Hamill recounted growing up here, the middle of 7 children, with his father as a career naval officer. He went to 9 schools in 12 years. His longest stay was in America's finest city.
Something I'd wanted for so long, a sense of place. I don't really have a hometown, but if I could pick a hometown, it would certainly be San Diego.
San Diego City Council member Chris Cate made the street naming announcement.
To dedicate Castleton Drive as Mark Hamill Drive.
Then there was the big reveal.
2, 1. Oh!
It took help from a San Diego police officer to hand Hamill a nightstick before using a lightsaber to take down the red cloth covering.
Mind you, it says honorary, which is sort of like a qualifier. It means like I'm on probation. It could come down at any time.
A huge honor to have Hamill Drive.
And Kay and other neighbors have been complaining about the squalor of this property, they say, for years now, and nothing has been done. Meanwhile, the junk continues to pile up and squatters keep coming.
It's just a nightmare. I mean, everything's just a giant mess.
The nightmare that won't go away.
Lots and lots of junk piling up that just keeps coming and coming that we have no idea where it's coming from. It's more of it just keeps showing up.
From suitcases to suits, causing neighbors to want to file suit.
Now I'm paying for an attorney and probably going to have to go up against the county.
It's a house of horrors in the 15100 block of Old Highway 80 in El Cajon.
A nasty squalor that's just been persistent over the years.
Neighbors say they have had it up to here with so much debris in their next door neighbors' yards, from furniture to clothing all the way down to collector's items.
It's a mess and it's frustrating.
George and Deanna Kay say the house next door foreclosed at $650,000 with no offers, leaving the property wide open to squatters and their heaps of junk.
And there's still people coming in and staying here and coming here at night.
Coming in and out.
Breaking into the property. The police been here 3 times in 2 days.
We saw sheriff's deputies show up after reported theft.
Just keep calling when you see it. We're still working on some of the issues with the court with getting trespass letters from the bank.
Yeah, that's what we need.
But neighbors need an answer now and have called an entire list.
This list right here, like I said, is just today.
But still no response from the owners out east.
And this has to be taken care of by the property owner. Well, there is no property owner. It's a foreclosure bank in Connecticut.
They say it's a health and safety issue with drug users and several reported deaths. And on top of that, rats.
And you have to have those to kill them. But it's the county and it's county code enforcement that hasn't done anything for 16 years in this house.
I spoke to the office for County Supervisor Diane Jacobs and her Chief of Staff, Jeff Collins, who says that they have had numerous meetings on this very property with Sheriff's Department as well as the county up to last Friday. New at 6:30, we'll tell you next where this matter stands. I'll send it back to you.
What a nightmare. Thanks, Heather. Landed on top of a home. Heather.
Barbara Lee and Carlo, take a look. The city of La Mesa deemed this a health and safety hazard. They wrapped around this red tape which reads danger hazardous, and the homeowner shockingly was inside last night when this tree tore right through his home.
All of a sudden, boom! So I come outside and oh my God, it turns out that the tree came and crashed in on the deck here.
Monday night in City Heights, this massive eucalyptus met D.R. Peck's deck.
And the main trunk stopped about 6 feet short of the main part of the house. So this is just the limbs. I mean, it just sheared right through this beam, this 4x4 beam, boom.
This tree damage spreads across the Manzanita Canyon.
It's just crazy. You see the whole house is covered by that tree.
The storm also sent this gigantic pine, pinning a La Mesa home.
I was over here in the motor home, and the tree fell right in between.
Steve Ursom heard the tree crash through the garage and topple on the porch, shattering wood and knocking out power.
Probably 150 years old. Who knew it would fall?
City of La Mesa inspectors red-tagged the home, saying it was uninhabitable due to the damage.
The tree's been leaning like that for a while.
Then in Loma Portal, in the 4,000 block of Udall Street, there was a tree versus a car. Heavy rain and wind sent this tree toppling over a red pickup truck, deeply denting the hood as huge branches sprawled out in the street.
Throughout the year, we do have a tree trimming and maintenance program where we do clear and trim branches, especially those that might be hazardous.
The city of San Diego says only dead or truly hazardous trees are first removed, and the rest are put on a list to be inspected.
Whenever you have a sustained rain, sustained precipitation, and the soil saturation that we have, tree hazards are inevitable.
Many storm victims are thankful there were no injuries.
What a mess, and I'm glad no one got hurt.
Still much to be cleaned up here in La Mesa as electricity is still shut off on the property, making it difficult for another resident living on the land with his dog inside his motorhome. I'll send it back to you. And that Chevy Tahoe first originally slammed into this light pole here. You can even see there are pieces of his tail light still left here. And from there, that's when employees say he ended up gassing it so hard that he slammed right through this metal railing that is being repaired right now, straight through the building where they now have a board where there used to be shattered glass.
I was getting ready to do a delivery and I just heard a crash. And I turned around and I seen all the stuff falling.
Nothing like these O'Reilly Auto Parts workers had ever seen before.
I think he was trying to go backwards though and went forward.
You think?
I think.
Just after 11 a.m., a driver mistook the brake pedal for the accelerator and came crashing through the store on Camino Ruiz in Mira Mesa.
Just had it in the wrong gear and put it to the wood or what? Holy cow.
Regular customers were stunned.
What's funny is that nobody was standing there because this is a very busy store.
The Chevrolet Tahoe driver is shown here with his hands on his head. San Diego police said it was a big mistake done by the older gentleman, so they sat him down in their patrol car to ask him some routine questions.
It was an accidental on the pedals, so instead of going forward, went back and then unfortunately ended inside the business.
The tow truck was called out, and the store manager said the driver in error said nothing.
Not much. He was a little dazed, a little confused.
The crash so bad it had the SUV bent back these black metal rails on the way in. So much glass to clear out now from the store, and the Tahoe now with flat tires.
I heard a helicopter above, and I saw it was News 8, so I turned on TV and saw that somebody had driven through the front.
A shock to see for passersby, and then relief for one former employee.
Just a little shaking that, this is where I used to work, and hearing that, there's a Tahoe sitting on aisle 1 kind of makes me glad that, I wasn't here on this day that it happened, because it could have been me.